Here. So today we'll be looking at bus and memory, and this is like the continuation of computer's first lesson. Yeah, so before getting started, if you're new to the channel, I'm Alok Hegde. I make videos on programming, Linux, then I also do study streams now. So yeah, check it out. Okay, so let's get started. Woohoo! So what is a bus, right? So what in God? Okay. What is a bus? Bus is nothing but it's a pathway for to carry like data, address and control signals from one part of the computer to another part, right? So that's basically what it is. It's basically a pathway to carry address, data and control signals, right? That's the first point. If you're write notes, okay? I can see you. I can see you through your webcam, okay? I can see you. You're not writing notes, okay? I can write notes. Yeah. So that's what bus is. Now, the bus is also divided into two parts. Bus is divided into internal bus, which is also known as system bus, and there's external bus. External bus, right? So internal bus is called as what? System bus. External bus is also called as expansion bus. You might ask, bro, why, bro, why? Why is it like that? Because internal bus, it manages it manages the transportation of data from all the components inside the system. Then external bus is there, no, this thing. It manages the transportation of data and control signals and address in like the peripheral devices. Peripheral devices means such as like expansion slots, IO ports, then like the rest of the computer, right? That's why it's called as expansion bus, and this is called as system bus. Now system bus, yeah. So which components? Basically, the major components such as what you may ask. Processor. Which are the major components? Processor, and there's memory, and there's IO, which is basically like the motherboard, right? And this is like hard disks, floppy disks, right? So that is external bus and internal bus. Now yeah, so the next thing, the internal bus is divided into three parts. Right? It's divided into control bus, then address bus, and data bus. It is bus, not bus it. Why, bro? Okay, anyway, so yeah, it is divided into three types of bus: control bus, address bus, and data bus. Yeah. So what is the use of address bus? Address bus helps us to transfer data between CPU and memory. Like, see, this goes here, then here. Then there is data bus. Data bus helps us to transfer memory like to the memory, then back to the CPU. But address bus is only one way road. This is two-way road. Okay, so CPU to memory is address bus, then CPU to memory and memory to CPU is called as data bus, right? So okay, let's write that down. Write that down. Write this down. Oops. Okay, let's just print it here. Oops. Okay, yeah. So control bus. Control bus, then there's address bus, then data bus. So yeah, which is one-way road. Address bus is one-way road. So it's CPU to memory only. Then data bus is CPU to memory and memory to CPU, right? So address bus is one way, this is two way. Yeah, oh yeah. Anywho, so then there is control bus. Now control bus is CPU to this. I mean, it's just control buses is just used to access the data from the other parts of the buses. Like if there is data coming from address bus and data bus, it can directly access it through the control bus, and it like makes sure that the correct data flow happens. Like CPU in the memory happens like it makes sure this is only one way road and this is two way road. Like control bus is basically like policeman. Okay, it's the easiest way to tell it. Basically policeman. I don't write this actually. Yeah, but like it controls data flow. Okay. Okay, y'all. Yeah. So that is about bus. Now in the next part, we'll learn about memory. So the next thing is memory. So there are two different types of memory. There is a primary memory and the secondary memory. But before that, what is memory? So memory is nothing but it refers to the electronic storage space for instructions and data. This basically when when something gets processed, like data, like it should get stored somewhere, no, for a temporary amount of time or a permanent amount of time. So it gets stored either in the primary memory or the secondary memory. Yeah. So let me just write the definition. Memory. So as I told, the definition is it is an electronic storing space for instructions and data. Okay. Cool. Then roll now. There are two types of memory. There is the primary memory and the secondary memory. So what is a primary memory? What is a secondary memory? We'll see. Right? So primary versus secondary. Now the primary memory consists of RAM and ROM. Right? RAM and ROM. Now RAM, okay, what is RAM? What is RAM, bro? So RAM is random access memory. So this is where the processor temporarily stores the information after the information is processed, right? After it is processed, it gets temporarily stored in the RAM, which is the random access memory. So why is it called random access memory? It's because it can be like the information written it can be overwritten, like it can be taken out and can be written again. It's like that because information is getting stored for a temporary amount of time, no? So after that it becomes empty again, so again information can be stored in it. Yeah. That's how that works. And RAM means read-only memory. It doesn't get stored for a temporary amount of time, and you can only read what is there inside it. Like if there are files inside it, you can only read it. You can't change what is there in that. So it is read-only memory, right? So the thing is, RAM is the faster memory and RAM is the slower memory. Okay. So secondary memory consists of HDD, which means like hard disks and floppy disks, right? It is basically the auxiliary memory. Auxiliary memory. Okay. Cool. Okay. Now let's dig a little deep into RAM. So there are types of RAM also. Okay. So RAM idella. Kannada bro. Because Kannada. There is static RAM. RAM? What do you mean RAM? No, RAM. Then there is dynamic RAM. Then there is SD RAM. And then there is the most fast one, apparently, because that's what they use these days, which is the SD RAM. And the fastest one is our DDR RAM, right? So this is the double data rate. Okay, why are you explaining this first, Alok? Are you crazy? I'll tell you. This is like the fastest one. Oops. 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 Shit. Double data rate RAM. Right? Now this it it works same as the SD RAM, but its transfer rate is double of SD RAM. That's why it's called double data rate RAM. In this there are like different types. Okay, there is like DDR1, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, DD Chandana. Okay, the last one is a joke. This one is a joke. I will erase it. Hehe. Tough crowd, eh? Tough crowd. Okay, that is DDR. Now SDRAM. Let's go to the first one because पहले से आना चाहिए bro. So SDRAM. SDRAM. Now SDRAM, it is used in cache memory, and it is used in cache memory, and the memory stored in it as long as the power supply is on. Stored in cache memory. And what? Tell me. What? I can't hear you. Information is stored in it as long as the power supply is on. Stored as long as power supply is on. Okay. I just write dynamic RAM here because no place. Dynamic RAM. Okay, wait, am I recording? Okay, recording. Cool. Okay, dynamic RAM. So dynamic RAM is the most common type of memory chip. We don't write that, it's not important. Yeah. So dynamic RAM was used before DDR RAM and all. In dynamic RAM, it's like there are transistors and capacitors on it, and that's where the information gets stored. Capacitor. Okay. And these are very cheap and they consume less power also. So that's why like most of the laptops like they use the dynamic RAM itself. Okay. What? They are cheap and consume less power, right? So that is okay. So static RAM stored in cache, its information is stored in it as long as the power supply is on. Then dynamic RAM, it runs with the help of transistors and capacitors, which is embedded on it. Then it's cheap, it's very cheap, and it consumes less power also. Then there is a SD RAM. In the SDRAM, it stands for what? SDRAM stands for what the hell? Synchronous dynamic RAM. Okay, this type of RAM, it only turns on when the CPU gets turned on. Okay, it only turns on when the CPU is switched on. Okay, or turned on. Yeah, so SDRAM. Okay, just remember like the full forms of everything. So SDRAM is synchronous dynamic RAM. Oh my god, I don't know the spelling at all, man. Synchronous dynamic RAM. Then you can spell out dynamic RAM. Yes. Dynamic RAM. Static RAM. Then there is DDR, double data rate RAM. Sorry, this one. Sorry. So. Yeah. So that is the types of RAM. Now in ROM there's no types. It's just basically ROM. And yeah. So remember all that. Cool. That is about primary memory. Now let's study secondary memory next. Okay, so now secondary memory, let's do it. Let's do secondary memory. Like really do it. Okay, so secondary memory is also known as, oh my god, sorry. So okay, calm down, Alok. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Secondary memory is also known as auxiliary memory, right? And secondary memory consists of all the external devices such as hard disk, then compact disk, then pen drives, and all that stuff, right? So yeah, so it consists of external devices, consists of external devices, and yeah, and the other thing is the secondary memory is there, no? The auxiliary memory is greater than its size. The memory, its size is greater than the size of primary memory. Yeah, primary memory size. Like in exams, they'll mainly ask the differences between these two. That time you can be like, secondary memory has like is like very large, and secondary memory is slower. Then it is auxiliary memory. Then primary memory is the main memory. You can say all that stuff. Like that's what they mainly ask questions on. Like differentiation between the primary memory and secondary memory. That time you can write all that. Yeah. So that's okay. Okay, so I'll write that as well. So like primary memory, you can, okay, they'll probably ask for like 3 differences. Then you can be like primary memory is volatile, it is expensive. I mean, it's like actually really expensive. Like the higher the speed is, the more like more expensive it becomes. Then volatile, then it's expensive, then it's faster than compared to secondary memory. Okay, these 3 differences you can write. If you want, you can write example also. Like, what is the example? What children? Yeah, it is RAM, and then there is ROM. Okay, that is primary memory ka example. Then let's go to the example for secondary memory. Secondary memory differentiation in what and all. It is less expensive, obviously. Then it is slower. Less expensive, so obviously it'll be slower also, no? Because that's how the world works. Then it is the auxiliary memory, and that one is primary memory, no? Yeah. And then example for this, you can write hard disk, pen drive, etc. Yeah, that is primary memory and that is secondary memory, right? Now there is another memory I didn't tell you about because I want to be like that secretive guy. Okay, so then the third one is the cache memory. The cache memory is like damn fast, okay, but like it's like only small amount will be present. Okay, like it's very fast, okay, like it's like very fast, and it is placed between the RAM and CPU, you know. And the use is it helps to increase the speed of processing. Okay, between it. Okay, is that correct English, guys? Someone tell in comment section. Okay, yeah, so you know how it works, you know how the world is. It is very expensive, so smaller in size. Yeah, remember this point, okay? So like anything, if it's expensive, then it'll be present in the computer in a smaller size. So if, see, the RAM is very expensive, so it is present in like smaller size. The secondary memory is not that expensive compared to the other two, so it's present in a larger size, right? Yeah, then in this also there's like three types, okay? There's the L1, L2 and L3 cache. Okay, yeah, so that's that. Yeah, remember that three types. L1, L2 and L3. Now the L1 is inside the CPU with the registers. Remember last video, if you watched, probably you haven't. Okay, right, that's that. So what and all we learn about? We learned about like the types of memory. There's the primary memory, then there's the secondary memory, then there's the secret one which I didn't tell you because I'm like that only. There's the cache memory, and yeah, then we learned about bus also, right? Okay, so memory, electronic storing space for instructions and data, into primary and secondary memory. Primary memory consists of RAM and ROM. Secondary memory consists of it's also known as the auxiliary memory, and it consists of HDD, the hard disks, floppy disks, and pen drives. Right? The primary memory is the faster memory. This is the slower memory. This is more expensive, less expensive. This is volatile. This is non-volatile. What does that mean? That means like the data will not be stored for a permanent amount of time. Like again, like it'll be overwritten. In secondary memory, it's non-volatile. It'll stay. Like if you store something today, even after 10 years, it'll be like that only. If you haven't deleted it. Yeah. So in primary memory, there is a RAM. In RAM, there are four types: static, dynamic, SDRAM, DDR RAM. Right? So the SDRAM stands for synchronous dynamic RAM. DDRM stands for double data rate RAM. Put another D here. R here. No need to put a D. Yeah, so that's that. That's a type of memories, that's a type of bus. So that's done. Now next is there is the UPS one part. I think you can study that because it's like damn easy, and it's very important also. Like they keep asking questions on it because it's so damn easy. Yeah. So anyway, guys, I will head out. Toodle.